What's up, everybody? John Hoover, Sooners on SI, along with Ryan Chapman. I told you, dude, before the game, I told you this game is going to be insane. I had no idea what we were in for. I knew it was going to be crazy. I didn't think it was going to be that crazy, Ryan. The Sooners come to Columbia, Missouri, come back to Columbia, Missouri for the first time in more than a decade. And the result is an absolute heartbreaker, a gut-wrenching kick in the you-know-whats. 30-23, they lose to the Missouri Tigers. I can't even sum it up. All I can say is somehow they lost to the Missouri Tigers. 4 turnovers, 2 defensive scoop and scores in the final minute and a half, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Final 3.5 minutes, technically.
Good Lord, what a game.
You know what Ozark was known for? The show Ozark, what they were cooking up there. That game was on this here. Bad teams find ways to lose football games and grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. And this Oklahoma team is really bad at that, exactly. They finally got an SEC game, John, that they were in, the first one since Auburn. And I don't know where to start other than let's start with Billy Bowman. Let's start actually right before that. Oklahoma down 16-9. The offense had been dead in the second half, and they turned to true freshman Xavier Robinson, and he rolls through on the scoring drive alone. Xavier Robinson had 7 carries for 43 yards. He finished tonight 9 carries for 56 yards, zipped him all the way down the field, and it was his true freshman brethren, Taylor Tatum, who throws the touchdown pass to Jackson Arnold, 16-16. 3 plays later, it's Samuel Mosigo who punches the ball out. Yeah. Billy Bowman scoop and score, and you're thinking, John, holy crap, this is a mirror image of Auburn. Yeah. They put together one drive, wasn't the big play, but you put together one drive, you get the defensive score, and then a corner falls down. Luther Burden gets a 33-yard catch on the sideline, and then Theo Weiss just suns Eli Bowen, or mosses Eli Bowen. I guess he's just bigger, toe tap, all that. You're sitting here going, all right, 23-23, John, we might be rolling this thing to overtime. There's about a minute left, and then it was time for Oklahoma to have disaster strike.
They don't know how to win, but they found new ways to lose, is one way of saying it. I'll just give you guys a little peek behind the curtain here. I was sitting in the end zone back here behind the goalpost, kind of under the goalpost, and I just squatted down, and I'm sitting on cross-legged, and I'm writing. I've got my laptop open, and I'm saying I'm just going to write my story right here. Oklahoma went down and tied it, sent it to overtime. Oh wait, there's a Billy Bowman touchdown. Sooner Magic. Oklahoma, not even this offense is bad enough, but Sooner Magic can save it. And about 3 minutes later, I was sitting there stunned as I was rewriting my story to say, this offense is so bad, not even Sooner Magic could save it. What can you say? I mean, Missouri goes on a very, 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 I don't even know if average is the right word for this Missouri team. Just they went on a 75-yard drive at will, scored and they were marching. That's the thing. They were marching on OU when the scoop and score, when Billy Bowman's scoop and score happened.
Drew Pine had just put together 2 back-to-back scoring drives. Drew Pine, who couldn't keep this Missouri team in the game against Auburn, Brady Cook. That's why Brent Middles talked about Brady Cook's Superman cape. That Auburn team, who might be the only team in the SEC worse than Oklahoma, Alabama just clowned Drew Pine. Yeah. And Oklahoma, for one half, it looked like they were reading out of that script, right? Missouri's offense did nothing in the first half. The only sign of life they had was a Peyton Bowen muff, which was one of the 4 fumbles. Count them up. Deion Burks, Peyton Bowen, 2 Jackson Arnold fumbles lost. Jackson Arnold also just dropped the ball Landry Jones style, but fell on it. And that's the only thing that Missouri had going. Then they found some signs of life. Zach Galli after the game said they brought in some bigger personnel, started to do some different things. Then it opened up with Luther Burden and Theo Weiss. Theo Weiss, who catches 2 touchdowns in his revenge game against Oklahoma. We're going to talk about Theo here in a second. And it just fell back on the fact that how many times in a press conference are we going to have to sit and listen, Oklahoma beat Oklahoma? Well, Oklahoma's kicked Oklahoma's butt time after time after time in 2022, time after time after time in 2024. And for the first time, John, in a Brent Venables press conference, I sat there and I said, that's a head coach that's defeated and has no answers. Yeah. There was no fire, we're going to get this fixed. There's none of that. That was a head coach that looked shell-shocked, defeated, and almost speechless. And there were a couple of times in the press conference that there's just awkward silence because he has no answers, and it's hard to come up with questions for someone that has no answers.
I asked a question finally toward the end of the press conference because I'm sitting there thinking, this guy, if I ask him anything, he literally has no answers. Now, my question was about Jackson Arnold and the turnovers. If you've got a starting quarterback who turns the football over at an alarming rate, and your backup has shown the tendency, at least in that South Carolina game, to do the same thing. What are your answers? And he said, I don't know. Just keep getting better. How much does Sooner Nation not want to hear that? Just keep getting better. When I asked him if Casey Thompson was a possibility to kind of turn this thing, insert him into the lineup. You've got 2 games. You need to get 1 win to get to a bowl game for the 26th consecutive season. Otherwise, you're going to finish with a losing record. Could you turn to Casey Thompson? You know what he said? I don't know.
It's something that we talked about.
I'll pull back the curtain again a little bit. This is a conversation you and I had. You made the observation, and I completely agree. He looked like a little bit of a dead man walking. He looked like he got some bad news after the game, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's a...
I don't think he did. I'm just saying that's what he looked like.
And Brent Venables knows, right? He's talked about it over and over again. This isn't the standard. This is the standard. Notice there was no standard talk in this post-game practice conference. Why? Because they don't know what the standard is. Like, Brent Venables knows what it is. He's seen it at Clemson. He's seen it as a defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. This team, we've talked about this on the midweek pods. SoonersOnTheSide.com, OklahomaSoonersOnTheSide.com, head over to Who's YouTube. The hallmark of a team, even in a bad season, a good coaching staff. Bob Stoops is a Hall of Fame coach. Even in bad seasons, 2005, 2009, what did the teams do as the season went on? Was it good enough? Was it below standard? Was it a disappointment? Yes, but those teams got better. Yep. In 2022, the team did not get better. They were losing games the exact same way. I think Danny Stutzman got better. There were like individuals that got better and then wore down in fourth quarters, but as a team, the same issues popped up. In 2023, they beat Texas, and then they carded that UCF performance coming off the bye was bad, then lose back-to-back games to Kansas and Oklahoma State. Didn't get better after that. This team, John, you look at what they've done on offense. The offense was so bad that scoring 14 points in the first half against Ole Miss felt like a breath of life. Well, here's the reality. They didn't score again in that game. They played an FCS school in Maine last week. Who gives a rip? Right. And tonight, without the scoop and score, Oklahoma scored 16 points. They got a massive fake punt that set them up at the 10-yard line. They kicked the ball from the 30 on that exact series. They finished 5 of 15, John, on third downs, 3 of 4 on fourth downs, though. Only 257 total yards of offense to Mizzou's 278.
Give me the Jackson Arnold passing.
Yeah, $135 on the ground, or through the air, 122 on the ground. Arnold, he finished 15 of 24 for 74 yards. He averaged 3.1 yards at completion, a 25.5 QBR, and he was 0 for 1 on passes of 15 yards or more. With Deion Burks, Angelo Farouk getting back into the game, I understand the offensive line's bad. They had to go with Spencer Brown instead of Michael Tarquin at right tackle. Michael Tarquin just looked like he couldn't stand on his ankle in pregame. But they weren't under direct. Jackson Arnold did not look like not Casey Thompson, Michael Hawkins and Jackson Arnold against South Carolina or Ole Miss, where they're running for his life. He had time at points tonight. They just weren't able to throw it downfield. When he did have time, he missed Brandon Thompson on the first drive for a play that would have been a big chunk play, maybe even a touchdown with Thompson's straight line speed. I'm not seeing evidence of this group getting better. Right. I think you had the one-half bounce, the new coach bounce that we talk about in soccer a lot, with Joe John coming in and calling the plays. But outside of Xavier Robinson, who just hadn't been playing all year long, I see no signs of this group getting better at all, and that's the hallmark of a coaching staff that's looking for answers, and that's with like grading the injuries. We talk about the young wide receivers. The young wide receivers haven't got better. It's the same crap that you're getting from them, the same inconsistencies when they have played. Now they go out there. At a certain point, John, we joked in the press box that the only thing that was happening with Farouk and Burks coming back is that Jacob Jordan wasn't on the field. That was the only offshoot, because Burks and Farouk were basically non-factors. The two biggest plays for Deion Burks tonight were Jackson Arnold should have thrown a pick six. It should have been 5 turnovers. Somehow it missed, and Deion Burks caught it. And then Deion Burks himself fumbled, and unfortunately he got smoked. Jackson said he talked to Deion in the locker room after the game, so that's obviously good news. But Burks had a huge crucial fumble for Oklahoma.
Yeah, there was a little bright light, and it came on special teams. Zach Schmidt hit 3 field goals, including a walk-off 56-yarder at the end of the first half. You gain a little trust in him for sure to be able to do that. Let's see. The punter.
Luke Elzinga, 43 yards.
Throws a little fake, almost a Tim Tebow, runs into the line, and then throws a jump pass to Bauer Sharp. Bauer Sharp goes 43 yards, sets up a field goal. Again, some minor bright spots. This was otherwise a disaster. The Sooners were up 9-3 at halftime. Should have been more. Should have been, at worst, 9-0, if not for the fumble punt. But they left some points on the board. And then the game goes from an absolute snooze fest, to nothing but fireworks in the final 5 minutes. And it was just insane. OU falls to 5-5 on the season, 1-5 in conference play. Goodness
Has
gracious.
dropped four straight SEC
straight
games.
SEC games with not much hope on the horizon, if you ask me. There is an open date this week. That's a good thing. This team needs some time off. They need to reset. The other half is they come back in 2 weeks and they play Alabama. We've seen what Alabama can do today, last week, the week before against Missouri, so on and so forth. Alabama is a wagon. Here they come to Norman in a couple of weeks, and then they got to go to LSU. Finish the season, Thanksgiving Saturday in Baton Rouge. I'm calling it.
They're going
losing
5-7.
record. They're going 5-7. They have almost no chance to win these last two. They were a favorite in this game. They were turned around because Brady Cook, the Missouri quarterback, a fine quarterback, what did he do? He didn't play today because of an injury. They had every break go their way. It just didn't work out, especially at the end of the game.
Well, that's the concerning thing too, John, is against Texas with all of Oklahoma's injuries, all that stuff, you're not going to win that game. The concerning thing about that was you got blown out. Not that it was even a football game, stuff like that. Today, this was a Missouri team that's as banged up as you are. They had questions around Nate Noel, their starting right back, coming into this game. Oklahoma lost Javonte Barnes, forgot 2 of their wide receivers back. This was the moment where you say, if you're looking for coaching, go out coach Eli Drinkwitz, which this is an average Missouri team. Like, I know they're 7-2. Yeah. They're who everyone thought they are. They're a paper tiger, a paper Missouri tiger, I guess, even with Brady Cook. And that did not happen. The adjustments in the second half, what happened? Missouri had a great game plan. Yep. They had offensive answers in the second half. Oklahoma had no defensive answers up until a fortunate fumble. The Oklahoma offense stalled until they turned to a true freshman. That's really bad news. And the thing that's going to bury this one for Oklahoma fans, Theo Weiss, 2 touchdowns, sprints straight to the Oklahoma section after the game, yelling at him to go home, goes on Instagram Live after the game. Oh, you forgot 2 times from Theo Weiss. This is the kind of stuff that Oklahoma's getting embarrassed every time out.
By the name of Drew Pine.
They're getting embarrassed outside of the Auburn game, the Tennessee game. I know it was 25-15, disaster. Texas, TKO at halftime. South Carolina, TKO at halftime. Ole Miss was not an embarrassing performance by any means. That was a strong showing, even in a loss. And then
Miss is looking good today.
Then you got clowned by Theo Weiss and Drew Pine today. That is where it goes from not good, injury riddled, to where is it getting better? Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? And you're going to snap a bowl streak this year.
Oklahoma's got problems, and you can read all about them at Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. That's where you'll find all of our coverage, our post-game coverage, our in-game coverage. We've got the videos cooking already. We talked to Brent Venables, of course, afterwards, as well as a number of players, both coordinators, all at Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com, as well as my YouTube channel, John Hoover Media. We're going to cut you guys loose from Columbia, Missouri. For Ryan, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.